volumes.
And we're talking about that New Zealand pair, and here they are in the second semi-final of the men's pair. We've got the world and Olympic champions, unbeaten for 5 years now from New Zealand, but the British pair had a great heat, and I'm sure we'll be hoping to be putting pressure on them, and we'll have a look at that as we get alongside the crews. And absolutely that, there's a lot of pressure coming on from the Americans in lane 6, the British in 4, and those New Zealanders out in the middle.
Such an incredible race that we've got unfolding here. Certainly you've got two crews in the British and the Americans who will have absolutely no respect in terms of what they're laying down here for that New Zealand pair. They are out here to absolutely give it to them. We can see the US men's pair, they haven't had an outing internationally this year. Glenn Oakle and Charles Cole, they were in the men's 4 in 2012 that won a medal at the Olympic Games, and they're now making their transition back into the US team, but they have been the fastest pair all season. Over in the middle are the British, James Fode and Matt Langridge, who you know very well, Greg, teammates of yours. But in the middle, it is the New Zealand men's pair moving out to half a length lead, and this is where they do it. They're blistering pace in the second and third 500s. They don't get flustered in that first 5 because they know that there's 3/4 of the race to go where they just have incredible speed.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing we saw in Lucerne was just the consistency of speed of some of these New Zealand crews, led really by Murray and Bond. But they were not so fast out to 500, but able to just keep the same pace going through the second, third and fourth 500s, and that looks like what they're doing again here.
I'll tell you what though, I mean, they were 9 seconds in front of Langridge and Fode, the British pair at Lucerne, and Langridge and Fode have obviously got quicker. But I think Murray and Bond will have looked at the timesheet and seen from the heats that Langridge and Fode had a quicker time than them, so they'll see the danger and they'll be prepared to make their mark.
And I think we should mention as well that Murray and Bond, for the first time, will be doubling up. They'll be in the Cox pair at this event as well.
Just looking at the Dutch pair there, that's one of their top boats on the far side. Mitchell Steeman and Roger Blink under pressure from the Americans. The Dutch in orange, but the Americans on this side in the third qualifying position. You can just see as they go through what is at the 1,000-metre mark there, and the Dutch are going to have to find a sparkling finish, or one of their top boats will be not in the finals.
They certainly will. The Dutch home crowd will be expecting these two men to do well. They're bronze medalists in 2013, but we can see the pain on their faces as they're really going to try and dig deep now and do something in this third 500 because they need to.
We've got such a stacked semi here. It really is... it's tough to call who's going to go through. We can see the Dutch on the far side. We saw the grimace on the face. They're really putting it out there. But this pair from the USA looking very schmick on the closest side. But it is going all the way, of course, of the Kiwi men's pair, unbeaten since they formed this combination back in 2009.
The Dutch are moving back. You can see at the top of your screen, just in orange, the Dutch pair gradually moving up the stern of the American boat. The Americans coached by Mike Callahan, the Huskies coach of University of Washington. They are the top American pair. Didn't want to row in the squad this year. Expect to see them in the squad next year. But there's the contest. The Americans near side. Top American pair. Charlie Cole, to your left, rowed in the Oxford Boat Race 2008. Both men Olympic bronze medalists in London 2012, like you, Greg, in the 4. And the far side, the Dutch. And I think they've made the move.
I think the Dutch have tried to make the moves, but the Americans have held them off. They're managing to hold it just one boat length. They're going to come down towards the home crowd, lock gate and bridge there, and the Dutch are going to have to now respond because they're on their home water.
And the Kiwi men's pair looking dominant. They've spoken about only just doing what they need to in each of the races. Of course, they have double the racing, competing in the men's Cox pair as well. So I would expect them to be absolutely opening up that margin in the final. But it is a tight race. The Dutch are in so much pain. Look at the...
See Mitchell Steedman's face there. You can know how much he's hurt. He's been looking like that since 1000, and I'm not sure if they're going to have it in them, I'm afraid.
No, they haven't. And Mitchell Steedman, you know, did so well. Of course, he came over to Henley and won that magic pairs race with Julien Bahrain. Got him in as a last-minute substitute. It's not going to be his day on the Bosman, but they're fighting for all their worth. And, well, as we look to our left, Greg, there's about 350 metres to go. There's still time, but look at that ocean of clear water. The Americans have done the job, haven't they?
I think there's clear water between each of these boats, isn't there? You don't often see this. You see the New Zealanders often out in front. The British pair, we haven't really mentioned them much. They're doing well because they're probably coping with a little bit of wash as the waves come off the New Zealand boat here as we see them looking so fantastic, as we're used to seeing them rowing very long and very smooth, doing nothing to slow the boat down.
Yes, we saw an interview yesterday from the New Zealand men's pair, and of course their coxswain in the men's cox pair, and explaining why it was that they would do events here, and it was all about staying fresh, extending themselves and trying to develop themselves in any way that they could, and doing a second boat pass for them was the ultimate challenge at this regatta. But they looked very confident. Of course, we're used to seeing this, but not far behind is the British men's pair, Matt Langridge and James Fode, and comfortably in third, the USA, Glenn Oakle and Charles Cole, and the Italians just moving up on the Dutch, who've given it everything on their home waters.
Yeah, the Dutch will be disappointed. Bronze medalists from 2013 World Championships, they're not going to be in the final here. Not the dream they were hoping for in their home water. So we see James Fode and Matt Langridge. As you say, two guys I rowed with in the 8 at the London Olympics, and we picked up a bronze. They're now going to be looking to do better than that. They're going to have their work cut out to win a gold against those two. Devastation
for those two Dutchmen. Mitchell Steeman, really feel for him. His sister Katie, of course, a very well-known rowing photographer. She'll be devastated. Murray and Bond, well, it's job done for them. Interesting to look at the times we see. I think that's the Kiwi blades off the start there, Greg.
Yeah, lovely shot there looking down. We didn't get to see them going off the start, but they're looking for that efficiency, aren't they? Of just the end of the blade going into the water and just moving totally together, picking the boat up without pushing it backwards at all.
Yeah, you just knew it was sort of game over when you saw that look on Mitchell Steeman's face. Roger Blink, despairing look around in the last 500 metres, renewed effort.
Well, I think the problem was he had that look on his face as they came through 1,000. If it had been the last few strokes, it might have been okay.
Yeah.
Notice the Kiwi pair here not rowing with the carbon rigger.
No, I had a word with
many of the boats do.
I had a word with Empire yesterday, and they say Kiwi pair just use the same Empire. It's about 2 or 3 years old, their boat. They don't have anything special. You can see the Dutch have got those carbon wing riggers, Greg, you were
that's
talking about.
The black wing rigger you can see there. You can hardly see the rigger. It's lighter weight, but I always tended to find it was a bit stiffer, a bit less forgiving and interesting. I like the Kiwis would perhaps prefer to row with more old-fashioned.
Yeah, they like a bit of give in it. You know, they just row in old boats. Doesn't seem to affect them and their speed, does it?